Hello there, Game of Thrones fans, Nerd Soup fans, and citizens of the world. I'm a globalist. Illuminati. We sold out real quick. Even though we were going to sell out corporate, no, we sold out to the devil. Well, I don't know where the hell this is going, but
I don't know.
There's only one God of death, not today. I'm here with Aaron. Aaron, how you doing?
Doing good. Before you threw me for a loop.
Yeah, two loops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call me, Two Loop McGee. It's on my driver's license, so if you want to see it.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, well, episode 6, Golden Crown, coming off what I believe to be one of the best episodes of the entire show. It's a good episode, and we're going to get into it.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
Let's do it. You want to start it off?
Also, we can just change it up a little and just not get into it. All right, we start off with Ned awaking from his little injury he suffered by the hands of Jaime Lannister to see Cersei and Robert standing above him. Imagine just waking up after all that and the first person you see is Cersei just glaring at you.
Yeah, I like how they focus on Cersei first because she tells Ned, "How dare you put your hands on one of my blood?" And it's in contrast to Jaime because Jaime was concerned about Tyrion. Cersei is concerned about the Lannister name. Yeah, she's similar to Tywin.
Very Tywin in that. I love how she always tries to make her own. Like, she's the original fake news. She's changing the facts up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Lord Stark was leaving drunk from a brothel.
Well, that's what she says. The victors tell...
Yeah, you make your own.
Yeah, they make their own truth. And Robb knows right away that Ned is trying to protect Catelyn because Robert says, "I didn't know she had it in her to actually arrest Tyrion." It's a great back and forth between Ned and Cersei. Also, you could see Robert where he's put in this position where he's balancing between his wife's family, the Lannisters, who he's in debt to, and the Starks. And he says to Ned, "You were the brother I chose." It's a sad thing to say for a man that he'd never loved any of his brothers. You know, the balancing act that he has to do between mediating between these two great families.
Yeah, it's interesting because especially he's not, the best when it comes to politicking and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's always just tries to appease both sides. He does that earlier in the season on the King's Road episode, dealing with the whole Sansa and Cersei issue.
And we also see Robert lose his cool in this scene when Cersei suggests that he should wear the gowns and Cersei should wear the crown.
I should wear the armor and you the gown.
And the line that Cersei has where she says, "I'll wear it like a badge of honor." It's a little hint into that abusive relationship that they've had for, 17 plus years. And yeah, Ned wants to bring Jaime back to face the King's justice because what Jaime did was a crime that I guess I don't know if that's a death sentence, but, well, right away after Ned gets reinstated too, he's like, "So what about that Daenerys thing?" And Robert's like, "Oh my God, can you shut up? Like, you're dying. You're on milk of the poppy. You're all drugged out. Like, just shut up." And then we go to Daenerys and Vaes Dothrak. And this scene kind of foreshadows her subtle magic, where she's picking up the dragon egg, she puts it on the burning brazier, and then her handmaiden rushes in and says, "Oh, Khaleesi, what are you doing?" And then you see Daenerys' hands. They're not burnt.
I guess the first scene with Daenerys when she's in the hot tub. I always love that scene too. When you look at it, when she looks down at her hands and she's all marked up, and Daenerys is like, "Oh shit, guess I'm a superhero now."
Yep. Next scene, we also get another magical scene where the Three-Eyed Raven is once again trying to communicate to Bran, and he takes him into the crypts of Winterfell, and we both know what this is foreshadowing. I don't want to get into that right away. And then Bran is awakened by Hodor, who's got the new saddle. We see Bran riding with the saddle. It worked, to your disbelief.
I didn't disbelieve it would work.
Well, you slept on Tyrion.
I said the guy who drew up the design was just like, "Give this to your mate."
So it wasn't like when you get something at IKEA and it's got like the 17 steps.
Yeah.
And we see Theon and Robb discussing what happened to Ned in King's Landing, and we really see the stark, pun intended, differences in their personalities. It wasn't intended, but whatever.
Bravo. Yeah, Theon's very trigger happy to start a war. It's really, and Robb has to check him. It's like, this is my house. You're not in a position to be telling us what to do. It kind of foreshadows later that even though they are friends, they really have different beliefs on what is the right thing to do in certain situations.
Yeah, and I think Robb is very sure of himself. He knows who he is. He's Lord Stark, the son of Eddard Stark. He's essentially ruling Winterfell at this point. Theon doesn't really have an identity. He's obsessed with glory and recognition. And, I feel bad for Theon because he has all these conflicting emotions. And we see that in the next scene when Bran is attacked by the wildlings, the first introduction to Osha. And I remember when I first saw these people, I was like, ew, I was like creeped out. And then I saw it was the actress from Harry Potter. "Don't call me Nymphadora." And once again, the different personalities are on display between Robb and Theon, where Robb is obviously going to defend his brother. He draws his sword, and he's brave, and he fights the wildlings and the Night's Watch deserters. And Theon just pulls his bow and kills the man without thinking if what position is Bran in? Could he be in line with the bow or the arrow? And Robb is like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Psychopath.
Yeah. And you can see Theon that he's very pleased with himself because he says an Ironborn is not a man until he gets his first kill. And Robb is looking down at the dead man, and he looks scared almost.
Yeah.
And once again, it's similar to Ned and Robert Baratheon.
All right, then we go to Syrio and Arya, and Arya is hesitant to continue her training in light of the events that happened with her father and the growing feud of the Lannister versus Stark. And Syrio tells her that those are the best days to train on. When you have other things going on, you can kind of take your mind off that or use that to progress your training as well.
Yeah, and Arya is obviously, throughout the show, she's going to be in positions where she has to fight under duress. And like you said, Syrio said this is the best time to train. It's not when you're playing with your dolls or skipping around in the garden. And when he asks her, are you worried about your father? Do you pray? And she says, to the old gods and the new. And Syrio's like, there's only one god, child, death. And the only thing you say to death is not today. Very in line with my own personal philosophies on higher powers. Arya's going to have a more intimate relationship with the god of death moving forward because she's a savage. And that's what she does. She introduces people to the god of death. Death, Cersei, death, hopefully, next season. And in this next scene, we see Daenerys eating the heart of a horse. Still disgusting, no matter how many times I see it. And I love how Khal Drogo's like getting turned on by it. He's like,
yeah. I love when Jorah translates what the lady is saying.
The prophecy.
Yeah, the prophecy.
So the prophecy is if somebody can eat the entire heart, then her son will be the stallion that mounts the world.
Yeah,
essentially.
So I don't know if it's anyone who eats the heart. Like, I think in the case of Daenerys and Khal Drogo, that's the case. And the best part, Jorah in both of these scenes is fantastic. Especially when Viserys is going to steal the dragon eggs. He tells Jorah, like, you swore an oath to protect me. And he's like, and you're going to forsake that oath. And he's like, yes, I am, bitch.
Well, Viserys talks about also being the last hope for a dynasty, where essentially he's got the world on his shoulders. If he doesn't succeed, then the Targaryen name dies. And he says that about Daenerys, about her son, that he'll never be a true Targaryen. He really is the last of the Targaryen line. And it's interesting going into Season 8, people are wondering if the Targaryen line will continue with Jon and Daenerys, possibly, if she can have a child. But once again, I do feel sympathy for Viserys because, like he says, since he was 5 years old, he's been the last of a dynasty, possibly the most powerful and most recognizable dynasty in the history of this world.
He's just so lost, and he has no place to go.
Yeah.
No one respects him. He's constantly being taken advantage of. Khal Drogo probably had no intention of fulfilling his end of the deal, and I think he's realizing that, so he has to go into survival mode.
Yeah, and he said he's never received what Daenerys got in the tent. In the Dothraki temple.
Maybe if you stop acting like a huge dick all the time.
Well, maybe eat a heart.
Yep.
Like he should have showed back in and been like, I got two hearts.
Yeah. Khal Drogo would have been like, I like this guy.
I like this. Yeah, he's cute, too. He's got nice hair.
And then we got Tyrion in a sky cell trying to, he is right. I mean, he's just put in a cell and never, had his chance to present his argument. The whole Lannisters always pay their debts. I'm a Lannister. Every year, rich as a Lannister. And Mord should have got a Emmy nomination for this performance.
No gold!
No gold!
Mord! Both of them, really. That's a sitcom I want to see.
I wish Mord would have went with him and Bronn. I usually don't like fan service, but they should bring Mord back for season 8. No gold. That's his catchphrase.
And Tyrion here, he uses, obviously, Mord. He manipulates him and says, I'm going to confess my crimes. I think this might be the funniest scene of the first season, when he's telling all the stories about the things that he did as a child, when he was, he made the bald man cry into a turtle soup. It's like, I'm pretty sure my sister ate it. At least I hope she did.
What the hell did he do with the jackass and honeycomb in that brothel?
Well, I love when Lysa Arryn's like, silence, and Robin's like,
I once brought a jackass and a honeycomb into a brothel.
Silence! What happened next?
I mean, what could have happened?
Yeah, no, that's another spinoff. Are you kidding me? Let's tie these loose threads together. Talk about George not finishing the books. It's ridiculous. And then, like you said, he's never given a chance to really present his defense, and instead of doing a old-fashioned trial, he wants a trial by combat, and he names Jaime Lannister as his champion. And I really wish Jaime would have fought in this duel, because that would have been interesting to see, but Bronn is the one who steps up and decides to fight for Tyrion. And Tyrion made sure to say it loudly and clearly that the Lannisters reward people who fight for them.
Yeah.
So I love the look on Bronn's face, too. He's like, oh, I'll fight for him. And he kind of just shrugs.
Yeah, it could be work in my favor. I love the face, too, when he says he picks Jaime Lannister, and he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, everybody in the whole room is like, oh, he's
Otherwise,
good,
it's not
he's
what's
good.
happening today. It's like, oh, thank God.
Ser Vardis?
Yeah.
Well, Ser Vardis gets tap danced on anyway because I love Bronn's strategy here. Just kind of dance around him, tire him out.
Why doesn't she stop it when Bronn's about to kill him?
To save his life?
Let the man live. You still lose, but you can let him live.
I love the way this is shot, too, when Bronn's, like, holding his arm up. It looks like they sped it up almost, where Bronn is, like, the way he moves, it looks unnatural. That's a terrible way to die, too. To get stabbed like that, you're bleeding all over your body, and then you're probably going to suffocate on your way down the moon door.
I mean, if you're going to die, that's kind of fun. Like a little skydive.
And Tyrion and Bronn, they leave together.
The start of a beautiful friendship.
You don't fight with honor.
No. He did.
And I love that little bow that he gives to Catelyn and Lysa. Like, not today. I want to make the bad man fly.
That's a great business decision for Bronn. He's set up for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And we got Robert Renly and Sir Barristan going on one of Robert's famous hunts.
And Lancel.
Oh, and Lancel.
Don't forget, this is where Cersei starts her
this is
little
her
scheming.
Her big play.
Yeah.
Get King Robert nice and drunk, which isn't that hard.
You think she paid off the boar?
Yeah, he was definitely on
He was
the
in on it?
contract. Yeah.
And it's also funny here, too, because Robert is reminiscing once again about the good old days. He's like the high school athlete that got hurt after high school. It's like, oh, I would have went pro if it wasn't for my bum knee. He's always reminiscing about the good old days.
Yeah, I hate to keep doing this, but it's Teddy.
King Robert is Teddy. It's like, oh, those were the days. And Renly's like, oh, what days were that? When the entire kingdom was murdering each other? Or when King Aerys was burning people alive?
Well,
Oh, you could see why they're not close, Robert and Renly.
Very opposites. Renly, he's more level-headed, and he's not. I mean, Robert is a special kind of person. he's out of his bird.
Well, I think there are people like that, though. And we forgot to mention in the first scene, it's the last time that Robert and Ned are going to talk to each other before Robert is basically dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cersei basically tells Lancel, get him really drunk, and let's hope there's an accident. And Barristan kind of notices it, too, in this scene. He's, like, looking at Lancel like, what are you up to, kid?
How many times do you think she's tried that bit where nothing happened?
I think every time.
Robert just had himself getting blackout drunk.
Yeah.
And this leads into probably my favorite scene of the episode, Ned on the Iron Throne, finally getting a chance to do things his way. This whole time he's been with Robert, they've had this struggle of Ned wants to do what's right, but obviously Robert blocks him from doing so, and now he has the chance to enact justice on people who deserve it. And I love Littlefinger in this scene because...
Oh, it's embarrassing, the exposition here. Oh, is it that House Tully, the house of your wife Catelyn Tully, who's played by Michelle Farley? Looks at the audience. Are you paying attention, idiots?
Well, I think he's just trying to be like a dick, like, oh, that's you. Oh, like helping Ned connect the dots. Like, yo.
No, I think he's helping the audience connect the dots. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of portrayed in a way where like Littlefinger's just being a fucking dick to Ned.
Well, even Pycelle comes out and says, "Oh, why would Sir Gregor do something like this?" Where the man that's pleading for justice from Ned doesn't even know that Ned's not the real king.
Yeah.
It speaks a lot to where the heads of the common folk are, where there's a man sitting on the Iron Throne. That's probably the king.
Yeah.
And Pycelle's like, oh, why would Sir Gregor do this? And Littlefinger's like, are you fucking kidding me? Pycelle is such an obvious weasel for the Lannisters.
It should have just broke the fourth wall. Littlefinger.
Littlefinger was essentially breaking the fourth wall.
All right, here
this
to
episode.
explain Sir Gregor's connection to the Lannisters, here's Littlefinger in a bathtub.
That would be hot. And in this scene, Ned strips Sir Gregor of all his titles, all his lands, and he also sentences him to death, and he summons Tywin Lannister to court to answer for the crimes of his bannermen. And Littlefinger's like, it's an admirable move, but Tywin Lannister is the richest man in all the kingdoms. Gold wins wars. And Ned is kind of showing his naivete here, where he says, if gold wins wars, then why does Robert sit on the throne? Because Tywin Lannister is backing him.
Yeah.
I mean, Tywin Lannister is essentially the ruler of Westeros.
Yeah, a lot of people like to mention Jon, like, how does coming back alive affect you? Well, like, take a look at Beric.
That is true. Completely new person.
He looks
after he
so
came
much
back
different.
alive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And this next scene is probably the funniest scene of the entire show, when Joffrey is making up to Sansa.
She's such a dick. Like,
It's funny because he just does the complete opposite of everything he says in this scene.
well, no, even before that, when she's like, "Oh, where are you from?" She's like, "Well, I'm from." Like, "Oh, wait, I don't care."
Scenes like that, they always like make me feel sad when young people are mean to old people. It's like, oh, I would listen to Septim Mordain's story.
Yeah, like you said, he literally doesn't do any of the things he said. I mean, Sansa, she still has his hope.
Yeah, she's eating it up.
Yeah, like she kind of like digresses a little, but then right when Joffrey comes back, like that, she's back to melting in his hands and wanting to be his wife so much and have little princesses and princesses, blonde hair.
Little princesses and princesses.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Well, she was scared that she wasn't going to be able to have a boy, so.
And in this point of the story, too, you're thinking, oh, maybe they will work it out here. Because we really don't know what Joffrey is going to become. He's not in Season 1 a lot. And then Ned tells Arya and Sansa that he's basically shipping them back to Winterfell. Arya's like, oh, can we bring Syrio with us? And Sansa's like, oh, I want to stay here with Prince Joffrey. I don't want someone strong and brave and gentle. I want Joffrey. I'm going to give him little princes and princesses with golden hair. And Arya's like, 7 hells. And I love how Ned gives her the little smirk, too. He's like, yeah, well, you know.
Lion, and I'll give him sons with beautiful blonde hair.
The lion's not a sigil, idiot. He's a stag like his father.
He is not. He's nothing like that old drunk king.
And this little thing that Ned's like, wait a second, all the gears start turning, the light comes on. It's like, I got it. No, Joffrey's not a lion. He's a stag.
Right.
So it's like, oh, he's not like Robert. He's more Lannister. And like Ned's like, wait a second, where's that book I had?
This is how he figures out that Joffrey is a bastard, that he's not the true-born heir of Robert Baratheon, because he looks at the book, the lineages, and he sees that most Baratheons have dark hair, and so do most of Robert's bastards. So he's thinking, how the hell is his first son, or all of his children, how do they all have blonde hair?
Better realization, Ned realizing that and giving that look up, or Hank finding that Walter White was Heisenberg.
In the bathroom,
Yeah,
when he's reading the book?
They both give that realization, that look
Hank.
up, like, oh my god.
Hank.
It all makes sense now. And then we get the final scene of Viserys, the one you sympathize with so much. Drunk and obviously out of his mind, and his last-ditch effort to try... I don't know what he's trying to do. He's just signing his own death wish. He thinks he's, like, smart with, like, oh, no blades allowed in Vaes Dothrak. I'm going to get him now.
He's just breaking every rule of what an intelligent person would do.
I'm pretty sure, like, Viserys with a sword versus Khal Drogo with no sword, I'm still taking...
Oh, I think he would, like, grab the sword and bloody his hand and then, like, punch Viserys in the throat. He goes into a tent full of murderers and rapists and threatens to murder the wife of the most powerful Khal, probably in history. They just had a whole ceremony talking about how their child is essentially the chosen one who will mount the world and take over the world. And yeah, Viserys gets his crown, finally. I love the line that Khal says, crown for king. Well, I love when Jorah's like, look away, Khaleesi, and she's like, no. You know, fire couldn't kill a dragon. He was no dragon.
I say, was it Aerion Targaryen? He drank wildfire, thinking that he would become a dragon. What the hell is wrong with these guys?
Yeah, they're nuts. Yeah, this scene, it shows that Daenerys is going to be the main Targaryen moving forward, because when you start the show, there's a lot of different characters. You don't know what roles they're going to play moving forward. Obviously, it seems like Daenerys is positioned as one of the main characters. But even, like I was saying with Joffrey, she's not in Season 1 as much as she is in the later seasons. A supporting character. It really is Ned's story in this first season. But overall, I think this was a solid episode. I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. Not as good as episode 5, but we're getting into a great episode next week.
Yeah,
You win or you die.
It really picks up now. Nice solid episode, like a mid-season like setup. You get the great episode last time, and now you have such a great finale to the season coming up. So it's a nice bridge to that. And yeah, I agree. I'll give it a nice 8 out of 10 also.
I can't believe insert movie name won Best Picture last night.
Oh,
that
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember when insert person made that joke, and the crowd was like...
Remember when every presenter made a joke about Donald Trump?
Yep.
Yeah. Damn lefties.